The Saturday afternoon, my phone rang while I was at my book club meeting. When I saw it was my grandson Tyler calling, I almost let it go to voicemail. He was supposed to be at his father's wedding 300 miles away, and I figured he'd call me later to tell me about it. But something made me answer. What I heard on the other end of that line, my 12-year-old grandson sobbing, begging me to come get him, telling me things that made my blood run cold, made me leave that meeting immediately, get in my car, and drive faster than I'd driven in 20 years. Some phone calls change everything in an instant. Before I tell you about that phone call and what Tyler told me, I need to tell you about my son Marcus and his relationship with his son, because understanding that complicated dynamic is essential to understanding why Tyler's call was so devastating and why I didn't hesitate for even a second to go get him. Marcus is my oldest son, and honey, our relationship has been complicated for years. If you've heard my other stories, you know about some of the things Marcus has been through: his troubled relationships, his poor choices, his tendency to put himself first even when it hurt the people around him. I love my son, but I've had to accept that he's not always the man I raised him to be. Marcus had gotten his girlfriend Jenna pregnant when they were both 23. Neither of them had been ready for parenthood, but they'd tried to make it work. They'd gotten married quickly, had the baby, my grandson Tyler, and then spent the next 5 years in a miserable marriage where they fought constantly and used Tyler as a weapon against each other. When Tyler was 5, Marcus and Jenna finally divorced. The custody arrangement was contentious, with both of them fighting for primary custody more out of spite toward each other than out of genuine concern for what was best for Tyler. Eventually, the court awarded Jenna primary custody, with Marcus getting Tyler every other weekend and alternating holidays. Marcus had been bitter about the arrangement. He'd claimed Jenna had poisoned the judge against him, that the system was biased toward mothers. But the truth, which I'd learned from court documents Marcus didn't know I'd seen, was that Marcus had shown up late or not at all to several custody hearings, had failed to complete court-ordered parenting classes, and had been living in a one-bedroom apartment that barely had space for him, let alone a child. Over the years, Marcus had been an inconsistent father. Sometimes he'd be fully engaged, picking Tyler up on time, planning activities, being present. Other times he'd cancel visits at the last minute, show up late, or spend his time with Tyler distracted by his phone or his current girlfriend. Tyler had learned not to count on his father, which broke my heart. I'd tried to be a stabilizing presence in Tyler's life. Jenna and I had developed a friendly relationship despite her divorce from Marcus. She'd let me see Tyler whenever I wanted, had brought him to stay with me during school breaks, had included me in birthday parties and school events. I'd been at every elementary school graduation, every soccer game I could make it to, every important moment in Tyler's life. Tyler and I had a special bond. He'd tell me things he wouldn't tell his parents about his worries, his dreams, his feelings about the divorce, and his father's inconsistency. I'd listen without judgment, offer advice when he asked for it, and mostly just be there as a safe, constant presence in his life. When Tyler was 10, Marcus had started dating a woman named Cassandra. From the beginning, I'd had a bad feeling about her. She was 35 to Marcus's 33, divorced with no children, and worked in pharmaceutical sales. She was polished and professional and seemed completely wrong for Marcus, but he was infatuated with her. Marcus had introduced Tyler to Cassandra after they'd only been dating for 3 months. Tyler had come to visit me the weekend after meeting her and had told me she was nice but fake. He said she'd smiled a lot and said all the right things, but that something about her had felt off. I'd told Tyler to give her a chance, that sometimes it took time to warm up to new people in our lives, but I'd made a mental note of his instincts. Children often pick up on things adults miss. Over the next year, Marcus's relationship with Cassandra had become serious. He'd moved into her house, a large place in an upscale suburb. He'd started posting photos on social media of them at expensive restaurants, on trips to resorts, living a lifestyle Marcus couldn't afford on his own. It was clear Cassandra had money and Marcus was enjoying the benefits of that. During this time, Marcus's visits with Tyler had become even more inconsistent. He'd cancel weekends, claiming he and Cassandra had plans. When Tyler did visit, Cassandra was always there, inserting herself into their time together. Tyler had complained to me that he never got to be alone with his dad anymore, that Cassandra always had to come along to everything they did. I'd talked to Marcus about it, suggesting he needed one-on-one time with his son. Marcus had gotten defensive, saying that Cassandra was part of his life now, and Tyler needed to accept that. He said I was being unreasonable and should be happy that he'd found someone who made him happy. Then, 6 months ago, Marcus had announced that he and Cassandra were getting engaged. Tyler had found out through a social media post, not from his father directly. He'd called me crying, saying his dad hadn't even told him, hadn't asked how he felt about it, had just posted pictures of the proposal online for everyone to see. I'd been furious with Marcus. I'd called him and told him that however he felt about Cassandra, Tyler was his son and deserved to be informed about major life changes directly, not through social media. Marcus had said he'd planned to tell Tyler, but that things had gotten busy. He'd accused me of always taking Tyler's side instead of supporting him. The wedding had been planned quickly, just 6 months from engagement to wedding day. Marcus had told Tyler he'd be in the wedding as a junior groomsman. Tyler had been anxious about it, worried about having to spend a whole weekend with Cassandra's family, worried about wearing a tuxedo, worried about his father being distracted and unavailable during the whole event. I tried to reassure him. I told him it was just one weekend, that he could call me if he needed to talk, that I was only 300 miles away if anything went wrong. The wedding was being held in the city where Cassandra's family lived, about 5 hours from where Tyler lived with Jenna and 300 miles from my house in a different direction. Jenna had been required to drive Tyler to the wedding weekend, dropping him off Friday evening and picking him up Sunday afternoon. She'd been uncomfortable with the arrangement, but couldn't refuse without violating the custody agreement. She'd made sure Tyler had his phone and knew he could call her or me anytime he needed to. That Saturday afternoon, I'd been at my monthly book club meeting. We'd been discussing our latest selection, drinking tea, having the kind of pleasant afternoon that 70-year-old women look forward to. My phone was on silent in my purse, and I almost didn't notice it vibrating. But something made me check. Maybe it was grandmother's intuition. Maybe it was just luck. Whatever it was, I saw Tyler's name on the screen and stepped into the hallway to answer. "Tyler? Honey, what's wrong? Aren't you at the wedding?" The sound that came through the phone made my heart stop. My grandson was sobbing, not just crying, but the kind of gasping, desperate sobs that come from a child who's truly terrified. He was trying to talk but could barely get words out between sobs. "Grandma, please. I need you to come get me. Please. I can't stay here." I moved further down the hallway, away from the book club chatter, my hand gripping the phone so hard my knuckles went white. "Tyler, sweetie, take a deep breath and tell me what's happening. Where are you right now?" "I'm in the bathroom at the wedding venue. Grandma, Cassandra is horrible. She's been so mean all weekend, and Dad won't listen to me, and I tried to tell him, but he said I was ruining his special day, and I can't do this. I can't be here." My protective instincts kicked into overdrive. "Tyler, has someone hurt you? Did someone touch you inappropriately? Tell me exactly what's happening." Through sobs, Tyler told me that the weekend had been a nightmare from the moment Jenna had dropped him off Friday evening. Cassandra had immediately started criticizing everything about him. His clothes weren't nice enough, his hair was messy, he needed to stand up straighter, he was slouching, he was being too quiet, he was being too loud. Friday night, Tyler had been staying in a room at the hotel where the wedding was being held. Cassandra had come to his room and dumped out his suitcase, going through his clothes. She'd told him that everything he'd brought was inappropriate and embarrassing, that she'd bought him proper clothes to wear for the weekend, and that he needed to throw away the clothes his mother had packed because they made him look poor. Tyler had tried to text his dad about it, but Marcus hadn't responded. When Tyler had finally found Marcus later that evening, Marcus had been drinking with his groomsmen and had told Tyler he was busy, they'd talk later. Saturday morning, Tyler had been required to attend a family breakfast with Cassandra's relatives. He'd been seated at a table with Cassandra's sister's children, who were all several years younger than him. Throughout the breakfast, Cassandra had made comments about Tyler in a voice loud enough for the table to hear about how unfortunate it was that Marcus had baggage from his previous marriage, how Tyler needed to learn better manners, how she hoped he wouldn't embarrass them during the ceremony. Tyler had felt humiliated. He'd tried to find his father again after breakfast, but Marcus had been busy with wedding preparations. Tyler had texted him, "Dad, Cassandra is being really mean. Can we please talk?" Marcus had responded, "Not now, Tyler. It's my wedding day. Can you please just try to get along with her for one day?" Then had come the pre-wedding photos. The photographer had been taking pictures of the wedding party, including Tyler in his junior groomsman tuxedo. Cassandra had kept making him redo his poses, criticizing his smile, telling him he was ruining the photos. At one point, she'd told the photographer to edit him out if he can't learn to smile properly. Tyler had started crying during the photos, overwhelmed and humiliated. Cassandra had gotten angry, saying he was being a baby and needed to pull himself together or he'd ruin her perfect day. She'd sent him to the bathroom to fix his face. That's when Tyler had called me, hiding in the bathroom, sobbing. But honey, that wasn't even the worst part. As Tyler continued telling me what had happened, he said something that made my blood run cold. "Grandma, I heard her talking to her sister this morning. She said once she and Dad are married, she's going to convince him to go back to court for full custody. She said she wants me to live with them full time because she needs to civilize me and undo all the damage my mother has done. She said, if I lived with them, she could fix me and make me presentable." Tyler's voice broke. "She said Mom isn't a good parent and that once she's legally my stepmother, she'll have rights. She said she's going to make Dad fight for full custody and that once they win, I'll be sent to boarding school so she and Dad can have their lives back without me constantly around." My hands were shaking with rage. "Tyler, I need you to listen to me very carefully. Are you somewhere safe right now? Is anyone bothering you?" "I'm still in the bathroom. The ceremony is supposed to start in 20 minutes. I'm supposed to walk down the aisle and stand with Dad. But Grandma, I can't do it. Every time I see her, she looks at me like I'm garbage. And Dad won't listen to me. He keeps telling me I'm being difficult, and I need to give her a chance." I made a decision in that instant. "Tyler, here's what you're going to do. You're going to stay in that bathroom with the door locked. You're not going to come out for anyone except your father, and only if he's alone. I'm leaving right now to come get you. I'm 300 miles away, so it'll take me about 4 hours to get there. Can you stay safe for 4 hours?" "But Grandma, the wedding." "I don't care about the wedding," I said firmly. "I care about you. You're 12 years old and you should not be somewhere where you feel unsafe and where adults are treating you this way. Your father made a choice to marry this woman, but you didn't. You shouldn't have to suffer through her abuse just because it's his wedding day." Tyler sniffed. "Dad's going to be so angry." "Let me worry about your father. Right now I need you to stay safe. Do you have water? Do you need anything?" "There's a water fountain right outside the bathroom." "Good. If you need to, you can step out to get water, but then go right back in. If anyone asks what you're doing, tell them you're feeling sick to your stomach. Don't let Cassandra or anyone else bully you into going to that ceremony. Your safety and well-being are more important than any wedding." "Okay, Grandma, I'll wait for you. Please hurry." "I'm walking to my car right now. I'll call you every hour to check on you. And Tyler, I love you, and you did the right thing by calling me." I hung up the phone and rushed back into the book club meeting. I grabbed my purse and keys and told my friends there was a family emergency. I had to leave immediately. They could see from my face that it was serious, and they didn't ask questions. I got in my car and started driving. 300 miles. 4 hours if I obeyed speed limits, maybe 3.5 if I didn't. I'd driven this route before to visit Cassandra's city, so I knew the way. I set my GPS, made sure my phone was charging, and started driving faster than I probably should have. As I drove, I called Jenna. I told her what Tyler had told me, what he'd overheard Cassandra saying, how he was being treated. Jenna was furious and frightened. I knew there was something wrong with that woman. Jenna said, "Tyler's been anxious about this weekend for weeks, but I thought it was just normal nervousness about the wedding. If I'd known she was treating him like this." "You couldn't have known," I told her. "Marcus has been putting on a good show about how great Cassandra is, but Jenna, we need to document everything. I need you to write down everything Tyler told me, with times and dates if possible. If Cassandra really is planning to push Marcus to go for full custody, we need evidence of how she treats Tyler." Jenna agreed. She said she'd start compiling documentation and that she'd contact her lawyer first thing Monday morning. She wanted to come get Tyler herself, but she was 5 hours away in the opposite direction. I was closer and already on the road. "Thank you for doing this," Jenna said. "Thank you for always being there for Tyler." "He's my grandson," I said simply. "There's nothing I wouldn't do for him." I called Tyler every hour exactly as I'd promised. Each time, he answered from the bathroom where he was still hiding. He told me that his father had come looking for him once, had knocked on the bathroom door, and asked if he was okay. Tyler had said he felt sick. Marcus had sighed and said they'd have to do the ceremony without him in it, that he was disappointed but they'd deal with it later. Cassandra had apparently been furious about Tyler's absence from the ceremony. Tyler could hear her voice from the hallway, saying loudly that this was exactly the kind of behavior she'd been talking about, that the child had no discipline or respect. Someone, probably Marcus, had shushed her and led her away. The wedding had proceeded without Tyler. He'd stayed hidden in the bathroom, occasionally peeking out to make sure no one was waiting to force him to come out. Hotel staff had passed by a few times, but when Tyler said he was sick, they'd left him alone. By the time I arrived at the hotel 4 hours later, my grandson had been hiding in a bathroom for the entire duration of his father's wedding ceremony and reception. He was 12 years old, and he'd spent his father's wedding day locked in a bathroom because the bride had been so cruel to him that he'd called his grandmother for rescue. I texted Tyler when I pulled into the hotel parking lot. "I'm here, I'm coming to get you." I marched into that hotel like I was going into battle. I found the bathroom where Tyler had been hiding. He'd told me which one during one of our check-in calls. I knocked on the door and said his name. The door opened immediately, and my grandson threw himself into my arms. He was still wearing his junior groomsman tuxedo, now wrinkled and disheveled. His face was blotchy from crying. He looked exhausted and small and so relieved to see me that it broke my heart. "You came," he sobbed into my shoulder. "You really came." "Of course I came, baby, of course I did. Let's get you out of here." I pulled back and looked at him. "Are you hurt anywhere? Did anyone put their hands on you?" He shook his head. "No one hurt me physically. It was just the words, the way she looked at me, the things she said." "Words can hurt as much as anything else," I told him. "And what she did to you was a form of abuse. You understand that, right? The way she treated you, criticizing you constantly, humiliating you, making plans to control your life, that's emotional abuse." Tyler nodded, tears still streaming down his face. "I just want to go home." "Then let's go home. But first, I need to talk to your father." Tyler's eyes widened with fear. "Dad's going to be so angry. The wedding's probably over by now. He's going to blame me for ruining it." "Tyler, you didn't ruin anything. Your father made choices that led to this moment. He chose to marry a woman who treats you badly. He chose to ignore your concerns and dismiss your feelings. He chose his own happiness over your well-being. Whatever consequences come from this, they're on him, not on you." I asked Tyler where the reception was being held. He directed me to the ballroom on the hotel's second floor. I told him to wait for me in the lobby, somewhere public and safe. He nodded and went to sit in a chair near the front desk where staff could see him. Then I headed to the ballroom. The reception was in full swing. Music was playing, people were dancing, glasses were clinking. I spotted Marcus on the dance floor with Cassandra, both of them looking happy and oblivious. I walked right onto that dance floor and tapped my son on the shoulder. Marcus turned and saw me, and the smile fell from his face. "Mom, what are you doing here?" "I'm here to get my grandson. I'm taking him home." Cassandra had stopped dancing and was staring at me with poorly concealed irritation. "Excuse me, this is our wedding reception. This is a private event." I looked at her with all the contempt I felt. "I don't care if it's the royal wedding. I'm here for Tyler." Marcus pulled me aside, away from Cassandra and the dance floor. "Mom, Tyler was being difficult all day. He wouldn't participate in the photos. He hid during the ceremony. Cassandra's really upset about it. We're dealing with it, but you didn't need to drive all the way here." Tyler called me sobbing, telling me that your new wife has been emotionally abusing him all weekend. I said loudly enough that several people nearby turned to look. "He was so distressed that he spent your entire wedding hiding in a bathroom. I'm not leaving without him, and you need to decide right now what kind of father you're going to be." Marcus's face flushed. "Mom, you're making a scene." "I don't care. Tyler told me that Cassandra wants to fight for full custody so she can send him to boarding school. He overheard her saying she wants to undo the damage his mother has done and make him presentable. Is that true? Are you planning to fight Jenna for custody?" Marcus looked uncomfortable. "We've discussed it. Cassandra thinks Tyler needs more structure and discipline. She thinks Jenna is too permissive, and that if Tyler lived with us, we could help him become more polished." Polished? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Marcus, he's 12 years old. He doesn't need to be polished. He needs to be loved and accepted for who he is." And from what Tyler told me, Cassandra has spent this weekend criticizing everything about him: his clothes, his manners, his smile, his very presence. Cassandra had joined us now, her wedding dress rustling as she moved. "With all due respect, Mrs. Johnson, you don't understand the full situation. Tyler is a sweet boy, but he's been coddled and allowed to develop bad habits, with proper guidance and structure. Tyler doesn't need you to fix him," I said sharply. "He's not broken. He's a child who needs love and support, not criticism and control. I'm trying to help him reach his potential." "No, you're trying to mold him into something that fits your image of what a stepson should be, and in the process, you're damaging him." Tyler called me in tears, begging me to rescue him, "because you've made him feel so worthless and unwelcome that he couldn't stand to be here anymore." Marcus tried to intervene. "Mom, you're being unfair to Cassandra. She's been trying to bond with Tyler." "Bond with him?" I laughed bitterly. "Marcus, she told him to throw away the clothes his mother packed because they made him look poor. She humiliated him during photos. She's planning to send him to boarding school to get him out of your lives. That's not bonding. That's cruelty." I turned to look my son directly in the eyes. "You have a choice to make right now, Marcus. You can be a husband to this woman, or you can be a father to your son. But you can't be both if being her husband means allowing her to abuse Tyler." "That's a bit dramatic," Marcus started. "Is it? Your 12-year-old son spent your wedding day locked in a bathroom because he felt so unsafe and unwelcome around your new wife that hiding alone in a bathroom for hours seemed like the better option. Think about that, really think about what that means." Marcus looked shaken. Cassandra was red-faced with anger, but she was smart enough not to make a scene in front of her wedding guests. "I'm leaving now," I said. "And I'm taking Tyler with me. You can call Jenna to arrange to get his things. And Marcus, if you do decide to fight for full custody with the intention of sending Tyler to boarding school to get him out of the way, I will testify against you in court." I will tell the judge exactly what I witnessed and what Tyler told me. I will not let you or your wife damage my grandson any further." I turned and walked away, leaving Marcus standing there with his new bride on their wedding day. Several guests had overheard parts of our conversation and were whispering to each other. I didn't care. Let them talk. Let them know what kind of woman Marcus had married. I found Tyler in the lobby where I'd left him. "Let's go home, sweetheart." We walked out to my car together. I helped Tyler into the passenger seat and buckled him in, even though he was old enough to do it himself. He looked so small and tired sitting there in his wrinkled tuxedo. As I drove away from that hotel, Tyler finally spoke. "Thank you for coming, Grandma. I didn't know if you really would." "Tyler, I will always come when you need me. Always. You never have to doubt that." "Is Dad going to hate me now?" "What your father feels is his choice to make and his responsibility to deal with. You did nothing wrong. You called for help when you needed it, and that was exactly the right thing to do." We drove in silence for a while. Then Tyler asked, "What's going to happen now?" "Well, first we're going to get you out of that tuxedo and into comfortable clothes. Then we're going to get you some food I bet you haven't eaten properly all day. Then we're going to call your mom and let her know you're safe. Tomorrow we'll figure out the rest." "Am I going to have to go back there, to Dad and Cassandra's house?" "Not if I have anything to say about it. Your mom is going to talk to her lawyer, and we're going to make sure that any custody arrangements protect you from being placed in situations where you're being mistreated." Tyler was quiet again. Then, "Grandma, do you think there's something wrong with me?" Cassandra kept saying I needed to be fixed, that I wasn't good enough. I pulled the car over to the side of the road and turned to look at my grandson. "Tyler, you listen to me. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you. You are smart and kind and creative and funny. You are exactly who you're supposed to be at 12 years old. Cassandra's criticisms say nothing about you and everything about her need for control and perfection. Do you understand?" Tyler nodded, but I could see the doubt in his eyes. Cassandra's words had done damage that wouldn't be undone with one conversation. "We're going to get you some help," I said. "Some counseling to process what happened this weekend and to build back your confidence, because what Cassandra did to you, that constant criticism, that humiliation, that rejection, it's a form of emotional abuse, and we need to make sure you don't internalize those messages." We drove the rest of the way to my house, stopping only for food and to let Tyler change in a rest stop bathroom. By the time we arrived at my house, it was nearly midnight. Tyler was exhausted, and I got him settled in my guest room, the one I decorated for him years ago with his favorite colors and posters of his favorite movies and sports teams. I called Jenna to let her know Tyler was safe with me. She cried with relief. We agreed she'd drive up the next day to get him, and we'd sit down together to talk about what to do next. That night, I lay awake thinking about everything that had happened. My son had married a woman who saw his child as a problem to be solved rather than a person to be loved. And when Tyler had reached out for help, Marcus had dismissed his concerns as being difficult, as ruining his special day. The next morning, I made Tyler his favorite breakfast pancakes with chocolate chips and bacon. While we ate, he told me more about the weekend details he'd been too upset to share during his initial phone call. Every story reinforced my certainty that Cassandra was toxic and that Tyler couldn't be left in her care. Jenna arrived that afternoon. The three of us sat down together, and Tyler told his mother everything he'd told me. Jenna cried as she listened. She kept apologizing to Tyler for not protecting him, for making him go to the wedding, for not realizing how bad things were. "You couldn't have known, Mom," Tyler said. "I didn't even tell you how nervous I was because I didn't want you to worry." Jenna hugged him tight. "From now on, you tell me when you're worried. Promise me. I'd rather worry than have you suffer alone." The three of us discussed next steps. Jenna said her lawyer had advised that she document everything and file a motion to modify the custody arrangement. Given what had happened, they'd argue that Tyler shouldn't be required to have overnight visits at Marcus and Cassandra's house unsupervised, and that any visits should be contingent on Marcus being present the entire time without Cassandra. Over the next few weeks, the situation unfolded exactly as we'd expected. Marcus called me angry, saying I'd embarrassed him in front of his wife's entire family. He accused me of poisoning Tyler against Cassandra. He said I'd ruined his wedding day. I told him his wedding day had been ruined the moment he chose to ignore his son's distress. I told him that Tyler had every right to call for help when he was being mistreated, and that I'd always answer that call. Marcus didn't speak to me for 2 months. Cassandra, meanwhile, started showing her true colors more openly. She posted passive-aggressive things on social media about ungrateful children and people who don't understand modern parenting. She'd apparently been furious that I'd interrupted the reception, and she made sure everyone knew she felt disrespected. The court hearing for custody modification came 3 months later. Jenna's lawyer presented evidence of what had happened at the wedding, including my testimony about Tyler's phone call and what I'd witnessed. Tyler spoke to the judge privately about his experiences with Cassandra. The judge modified the custody arrangement. Marcus could still see Tyler, but only during day visits for the next 6 months, and Cassandra was not to be present during those visits. After 6 months, if Tyler felt comfortable, they could revisit overnight visits, but it would be up to Tyler. Marcus was furious with the ruling. He blamed me, blamed Jenna, blamed Tyler. He said we'd all conspired against him. He didn't seem capable of understanding that his own choices had led to these consequences. Over time, Marcus and Tyler did start rebuilding their relationship, but it was slow and fragile. They'd meet for lunch or dinner, just the two of them, and gradually Tyler started to trust his father again. But their relationship would never be what it could have been if Marcus had prioritized Tyler's well-being over his new wife's preferences. As for Cassandra, she and Marcus are still married, but from what I hear through family gossip, the marriage is strained. Cassandra apparently resents that Tyler came between them, and Marcus resents that his wife's behavior led to restricted custody of his son. Neither of them seems willing to take responsibility for their own actions. Tyler is 14 now, and he's doing well. He sees a therapist regularly to work through the emotional impact of what happened at the wedding and the rejection he felt from his father. He's confident and thriving, surrounded by people who love him for who he is, not who they want him to be. He still comes to stay with me regularly, and we have a tradition now. On the anniversary of the wedding day, as we call it, we celebrate what we call Tyler's Grandma Rescue Day. We order his favorite pizza, watch movies, and talk about how brave he was to call for help when he needed it. I tell him every time, you trusted your instincts, you reached out when you were in trouble, and you let someone who loves you help you. Those are all signs of strength, not weakness. The phone call I received that day, my grandson crying, begging me to come get him, changed the course of several lives. It gave Tyler an example of someone who'd drop everything and drive 300 miles because he needed help. It showed him that he matters, that his feelings are valid, that he deserves to be protected. It also ended any illusion I had about my son making good choices when it came to relationships. Marcus had chosen a partner who couldn't accept his child, and when forced to choose between them, he'd tried to have it both ways, keeping both his new wife and his son happy, which ended up making everyone miserable. For me, that drive 300 miles through increasing darkness, my hands gripping the wheel, checking in with Tyler every hour to make sure he was safe, was one of the most important things I've ever done. Not because it was dramatic or heroic, but because it showed my grandson that when he's in trouble, when he's scared, when he needs help, I will always come. Some people might think I overreacted, that I should have let Marcus handle it, that it was his wedding day and I should have respected that I should have made Tyler tough it out through the reception. But honey, no event, not a wedding, not a holiday, not anything is more important than a child's safety and well-being. When my 12-year-old grandson called me sobbing, telling me he was being emotionally abused and needed rescue, there was no question about what I'd do. I'd get in my car. I'd drive as fast as legally possible. I'd walk into that wedding reception if I had to and take my grandson home where he'd be safe and loved. That's what grandmothers do. We protect, we advocate, we show up, we drive 300 miles because a child needs us, and we do it without hesitation because that's what love requires. Tyler knew he could call me. He trusted that I'd come, and I did. Every grandmother should be that person for their grandchildren, the one they can call when they're in trouble, knowing that no matter what, help is on the way. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to this channel for more true stories about protecting children, standing up to family members when necessary, and being the safe person children can call when they need help. Have you ever had to rescue a grandchild or other family member from a bad situation? Have you dealt with a toxic step-parent who tried to push your child or grandchild out of the picture? Have you had to choose between keeping peace in the family and protecting a child from emotional abuse? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your stories matter, and this community is here to support each other through difficult family dynamics. Remember, children need to know they have someone they can call when they're in trouble, someone who will drop everything and come get them, no questions asked, no matter what. Be that person for the children in your life. And if you're a parent bringing a new partner into your children's lives, pay attention to how that partner treats your kids when you're not looking. Your children should never have to choose between being themselves and being accepted by your new spouse. Protect your children first, always. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next story.